cycle.
Today being October 19th, 2022, the time is 5:32 p.m. This meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS Budget Committee will now come to order. Okay, everybody read the minutes? Good opportunity to read the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
A second.
Discussion? Ready for the motion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just wasn't here. I'm not
okay. All right. So, it was suggested that we cancel this meeting, but since we all agreed to meet tonight at this time, and we wouldn't be able to meet again until probably the end of November, because the availability on Wednesday is slim on sometimes, I thought we should still meet. Wow.
Just don't know I need to leave very shortly.
So, we have packets that has information in it that I primarily asked for: number of employees, the apparatus status. And my thought was we could go through this budget. We've got a copy of it in front of us. Wish I'd remembered my glasses again. And create a budget. We do know that electricity, heat is going up. Has the electric bills doubled? Have they gone up 100%?
Not 100. On the itemized budget, on that line, I put the percentage that it did go up, and I think it's like 90%.
So it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Okay. And heating oil, I guess, hasn't. What are we on natural gas on both?
Yes.
So there's no heating oil at all.
No oil, no.
So, but the equipment uses diesel, I would imagine.
Yes.
That's supposed to. Gas is supposed to come down, and diesel is supposed to go up for the heating oil. Okay. So why don't we look at those lines?
The government buildings down on page 4.
Yeah. Electricity's at the top.
God, that's sad. Is revenue coming in from Park Street Tower? To
We
offset?
got the initial $5,000 when they received their building permit, but since we're still waiting for Eversource to light it up,
Really?
yes. Until they're operational, we will not collect any rent. So it's supposed to happen shortly, but
Why the holdup?
I wish I could tell you a good answer, but it's just bureaucracy because they had to put a mid-span pole in between two poles, and that is consolidated. then they have to come off of that pole, which is Eversource. There's different companies, they had to get their coordination together, they had to get their approval from New Hampshire DOT because it's in the right of way. So there's a process, so Consolidated had planted their pole, Eversource is supposed to plant their pole. I've had emails back and forth between the engineer for the tower company and the engineer for Eversource and the project manager for Eversource. And it appears that it's close, but no one's saying it's going to be done by this date. I expect it to be done within the month, but I'd be,
Which month? Can't tell.
yeah, within a month, I should say, not this month. I don't know, I've been over to the building like 6 times trying to push this along.
So once they get it operational, let it up, is that going to eliminate the need for the electricity expense?
No. So the electricity expense at Park Street for the tower is for the electricity that we use for our radio systems that are in the communication shelter at Park Street.
Okay. So we're still going to raise and appropriate it, but we do have offsetting income.
Yes. And the income that we'll get is split. Half of it goes into a fund to offset costs towards buildings and radio infrastructure. The other half goes towards offsetting the operating budget of the following year.
Is the power in that building, it's inside the fence, right?
Yeah, it comes off the pole, underground, goes, inside the fence. There's a meter,
So that's gonna be a separate bill?
yes.
So that,
The only bill we pay for that, we don't pay for anybody else's, but only the electricity we use.
right, so, and can that part of the electric bill be paid with power revenue?
Not during the current year.
Not in the same year.
So next year,
Next year,
we can eliminate.
Right.
Okay.
Two words that generally don't go together, is budget and eliminate.
That's true.
so all the revenue is split
Yep.
in those two funds, and
It's a 50-50 split.
yes.
So this is as of October. Park Street stations at 2,409. Okay, that's not much. I mean, that's what we raised and appropriated. Right, no, that's the actuals, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the
So
actual.
that's below,
The actuals are at the end of September.
yeah. The end of September.
Yes, September 30th.
So that's 3/4.
But with a huge increase in the last month.
Okay. Heat fuel, that's natural gas. Water.
What do you want to know about water?
Looks killed.
That's domestic.
Yep. Well, if at the end of September, we're at 447, and we appropriated 1,000, 785, we're not gonna reach 1,000, are we?
It's a third quarter paid.
This is we've got 3/4 in.
3/4 is in, but this was before.
We got the
Because-
third quarter bill.
we received a bill for the fill lines for 7th Street and Park Street, and that's not included on this spreadsheet. So the bill wasn't in.
You know what the bill was roughly,
Hold on.
but to include?
Let's see.
$65, somewhere around there.
That sounds like sewer.
Did you base these on the new agreement?
We base these on what we're being currently billed.
Okay.
The new agreement doesn't really have anything to do with.
I thought there were rates and percentages and.
They're increasing their domestic rates. Every fee they have, every rate they have is increasing by 4% every year for the
Okay.
next several years.
Repairs and maintenance. Did these repairs actually get done? Replace railing on
Yes,
22 railing, because
yes,
it was 1,140, that's all it came to, that was actual.
yes.
It doesn't look like you've done any interior painting.
Nothing that we've been charged for yet.
So those don't have to be repeated this year. What is ambulance bay Plymovent? Plymovent?
That's right.
The exhaust.
The
thing.
exhaust extraction system from the vehicle.
So we don't have to repair that again.
Well,
This monitoring is done every year.
yes,
What's the $100 for the generator?
that's maintenance.
Just in case money, just
No, we do a service on it every year.
so spark plugs and.
Yeah. Spark plugs, oil, stuff like that.
So it's general maintenance.
Yeah.
So I'm down to the next section, 430.02, Park Street Station. Water softener and filter
Yes.
on the municipal water supply.
The water contains a high amount of some type of minerals, I forget.
Manganese,
I don't know, but it's eating the paint on the vehicles and
manganese.
eating the windshields.
Certified safe to drink.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm not excited with
I hungry,
that.
right?
I just,
Because
yeah.
they put it in your faucet. I just lost my page. Where was I?
Page 4.
We don't drink that water.
Certified safe to drink. Goes in every house that's on the system, right?
Training facility,
And Park Street, whatever that rest of that.
Equipment.
There, they cook.
Yes, so that whole facility has been built with donated funds, except for a very small amount. And we just have we made it 3 stories tall now, and we're out of money to improve it. And we need to build interior stairs and windows and things like that for the 3rd floor. And so I had Captain Gilman give me an estimate on the cost of materials. We do all the work ourselves, and that was the cost of materials to do the improvements.
is this a separate building? Where is this?
Yes,
The
it's right,
Conex boxes that are stacked behind the,
It's where?
right behind the Park Street Fire Station.
you know, the Dennis Manning
Storage
facility,
containers.
that's the stacked storage boxes.
Oh, I guess I've never noticed
Oh.
that.
Well, it's painted nicely green
You
now.
train inside storage containers?
Well, yes.
It's a little claustrophobic.
It's the idea.
Yeah, that's the point. I'd love to give you a tour.
I'll slam the door.
Did the bathroom thing get
Maybe
done?
someday. I should have-
Part
Yes,
three, that's all.
except the only part of that that's not complete is the flooring, and Paul Ogier is supposed to complete that for us, but he says we shouldn't worry about it at this point in time. He'll get to it when he has time to do it.
It's on the next page. Why did we increase custodial supplies?
We increased custodial supplies because custodial supplies went up.
Your contract went up or just the,
Price of
Price
Right,
of it.
the supplies.
that same roll of toilet paper is not what it used to be.
Not paper towels or anything.
Jerry has the Sears Roebuck catalog.
I have heard
It's
of it.
online.
I haven't seen one in a long time.
Sears, who was out of business.
I used to, when I was a kid, used to look at the toy one, the thick toy one.
Christmas book,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I used to love that.
Wish
with
book.
BB gun page.
When I was a kid, it ended up in the outhouse. And I'm not kidding.
Not the colored one. The colored paper?
I was too young to remember.
It's slippery.
Because you,
Now we just have the Winnisquam Echo. Sports page / press release notification.
That's not gonna get you very far. You gotta steal your neighbors to. Sunday paper's like $7, $8 now.
Is it really?
I think, yeah. Just happen to look at it.
I used to buy one once in a while.
why the increase on the Shed Road tower monitoring?
Because that's the new contracted price for it.
What happened to the old? And it says you've spent nothing on the current.
We haven't received a bill
The
yet.
bill is on its way, but this was the end of the contract, and we had to put it out again, and this is the new price.
What do they do?
So they monitor, first of all, they visit the site once a year, measure all the impedance on all the antenna lines and the combiners and things like that on the radios as well. They also, there's system sensors on all of these things where they can monitor it. So if something goes wrong with our communication system, they know instantly what it is. Sometimes they can type in a computer and fix the problem. At other times they have to come out and fix the problem.
Interesting.
Have there been any problems?
No, there haven't been any. The only problem that they notified me is that the propane on the generator needed to be filled, so they know when it's empty. And
So that's not automatic, Phil?
no, it's not on automatic. It's two 30-pound bottles.
Oh, yeah. Like a camper.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions as we're going through this, just jump in, don't let me crowd the floor.
Just the overview, it looks like 2.37% for the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Mainly for inflation, I would assume, and those type of costs, so.
Yeah. So we're just trying to maintain the status quo of what we have now and not, asking for different things. I mean, I go from August to August on the CPI because that's when I start really developing the budget, and I use last August compared to this August, and that inflation rate from the previous August to the one that just happened was 9.1% on the CPI. So some things I had to add to, some things I looked where I could reduce spending. Adjusted the wage scale to try and reflect keeping us exactly where we are within the area fire departments. and that's basically we're right in the middle.
Why the jump on cell phones and internet?
Those prices have gone up as well. We have a couple more devices as well.
Such as,
Did we make changes to that too, for a different service? or-
Yes,
Yes.
we're just now getting the fiber in,
Oh, really?
yes. It's taken that long since last.
Well, that's the internet part of it.
Right,
And the cell
I remember
service.
we increased the budget for
that.
that, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
that's just getting done.
It's just getting done now. In fact, they're coming tomorrow to run the fiber from the
Right, one
street
of the
to the
telephone
station.
poles.
So that money was appropriated,
Last year.
but not spent.
Not spent, but the money that was appropriated last year, they gave me an estimate that was a typo, so it really wasn't enough to install it previously to this,
their typo?
their typo.
And they don't want.
They don't
want
an
to make their own
intermediary.
mistake, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it was through an intermediary, and so the fiber company said it wasn't really our fault, it was your intermediary, the vendor I went to help me search all fiber rates, and he made the error, so he was not gonna eat several $1,000s or whatever it was, so. I just waited until we could do it within the budget.
How's the call department doing? Is there a lot of members right now?
So we have about 12 to 14 members. Of course, we have the regular guys that are always around, like Deputy Robinson, Tommy Bulio, Lieutenant Bulio, Matt Ozier, Dwayne, of course, he's there. He's the only one that's usually around during the day. Sometimes he helps us get the ambulance to where it needs to be and then drives the engine back or whatever needs to be driven back. And then we have several that are just fire certified, and then we have several that are just EMS certified. We have a couple folks that are certified on both EMS and fire. But those are also firefighters in other communities, but just happen to be in our call department. And we're kind of lucky to have those guys. But I would say the participation of the call company has pretty much been the same for the past several years. During the day, no help really at all, except for Dwayne once in a while, more than once in a while. During the evening hours, like from 4 to 8:30 or so, if we get several calls, they're helpful in that time frame. After that, nobody wants to get up. They have to go to their regular jobs. And nobody wants to get up for somebody who's stubbed their toe getting out of the shower type of deal. You know, if it's a fire, they come out. But other than that, it's just what we have on duty. But we still need them. Still need them.
We only pay them if we use them, right?
Correct. If they come to work, we pay them.
I'm on page 7.
Okay,
Notary Public,
yes,
all of a sudden,
it's every 5 years that you have to renew it.
say again?
It's every 5 years that you renew it.
And Amazon Prime?
We buy a lot of our stuff. Amazon.
Really?
Yes.
Is that something new? Because this is new to the budget.
No, we've been using Amazon, since I've been there, we've been using it.
Why all of a sudden now is it going into the budget?
Because they're charging for it. They get you hooked, and then,
It's a
Business
business-
section.
and it's a
a
business
business
section,
section.
so now they're
They've
charging.
gone up considerably. Started
So
out-
you buy something from them And they charge you for buying something?
No,
Prime
no,
gets you
no.
faster,
Delivery.
free shipping, and a lot of
Is it like DJ's, you're a member?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
You
membership.
still can do Amazon and not pay, but your shipping is longer, and sometimes you pay for shipping on items.
I don't know how much you spend there,
Yeah.
it's well worth the money, but
Yeah,
I don't,
$408?
yeah.
Mhm.
Shipping, you know what, shipping costs are ungodly.
We'll just buy local.
Can't always get it.
I mean, I don't, you know, you're gonna buy,
Yeah.
so what are you buying? Custodial supplies, paper
No,
product?
We have a contractor within the, we use the state contracted price for custodial supplies.
Which is usually WB. Mason, is that who you use?
So-
We use
Swish,
Swift,
Swish.
Swish,
Swisher.
Swish something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like up in White River Junction.
Yeah.
State, the state has a contract with WBC,
yeah. We,
but they're out of stock a lot. That's
they
it,
really
too.
are,
Yeah.
and that's an issue. We get what, we buy it where we can get it
Yeah.
And sometimes they
for the
have
best price.
another company's out of stock.
Yes.
We used to at work, they get Peterborough cups for our breakfast line because Cisco's out of stock.
What is Grammarly?
Grammarly.
Grammarly?
Grammarly,
Love that software. It is
that is
It
a
is
software
awesome.
that
Yes, it really is.
helps you use better grammar, punctuation in a lot of the documents that I create. It makes, takes my gibberish and turns it into, gives me hints and other people hints on how to make it more clear.
It's nice
worth
that you care. I wrote that stuff for 20 years and I didn't care. If it sounded, you know,
I don't know, they don't teach English. from
Pretty or
anyone,
not.
somebody.
That is true.
Exactly.
They don't teach.
is it a one-time
No,
thing?
they don't.
It's an annual thing.
Remember, we had a diagram, something?
Ugh. Yes.
Equipment maintenance or repairs, are you, done with that?
In the year?
Never.
No,
No, that's
If you're-
that's a never ending.
I mean, I like all the blanks, but it's still, you know, almost $4,000 more than last year. Unanticipated equipment and repair, there it is,
So-
4,000.
Yep. So there are things in that I know that we'll be spending money on, and then there's the unanticipated. There's something that's new this year that I know we have two dry suits that need a lot of repairs to them. And so that's one line that, like last year, we only spent, $100 to $300 in there usually. But these two dry suits that these individuals wear in very cold water have to be repaired.
What's the cost of a new one?
About $1,600 for a new one.
And what's the repair cost?
It depends on what they're doing.
So
What's wrong with it?
Right.
usually the bladder around the neck, the wrist, there's usually, because of the river, we're in the river, you get tears in some of the, from the rocks and things like that. All that stuff has to be patched and replaced.
Tools can be bought in the equipment and apparatus fund.
So new tools, like if tools for extrication, things like that, we buy out apparatus and equipment fund, but hand tools, like we need screwdrivers, wrenches, things like that, socket sets.
It's still equipment. Didn't think that agreement was that precise.
Well, not only is it that precise, it's been changed over the years.
And
Right, but it's
there'll be a
still,
warrant.
it's not that specific.
We do buy it.
It still says equipment.
Yeah. So,
I mean, apparatus is such
It's like a handle for the axe. If the handle breaks on a wooden handle breaks on an axe, that comes out of the tool line.
Just go out and cut a piece of hornbeam.
All right, we'll call you up to come do it, okay?
Hornbeam, where is that?
Yeah. It's on Amazon.
I got a bunch out in the back.
But only if you got problems.
It's considered the strongest wood in our area.
So, there is a warrant article coming up at this district meeting, which will move, propose to move all repairs, maintenance, and for equipment and vehicles from operating into the apparatus and equipment fund. And this will be put forth by the SAFER committee.
So if that passes, will that drop some of this?
Yes.
Yes, these will move from operating to the apparatus and equipment account in
2024.
in 2024 in an effort to help defray the cost of the additional firefighters when the grant ends. The SAFER employees.
But not until
So that's
2024?
their cure-all.
Well, it's not a cure-all.
Well, that-
It was never going to be a cure-all for that. It's to help offset some of those costs. Because we're able to do most of our ambulance transports, our ambulance revenue has gone way up, and it's going to be considerably higher than it has been when we were running with 3 guys. And it's going to be probably in the area of $100,000 more in ambulance revenue, although I don't know what that figure is right this second, but that's some of it. And the equipment that we have now, especially the vehicles, the engines, and the ambulances now are maintained in much better shape and not breaking down every 2 seconds like they had been the past, 2 or 3 years ago. We won't be spending $70,000 a year up to keep an engine running, or $50,000 a year to keep the engine running. Or like on A2, the old A2, we're spending like $30,000 a year to keep that thing running, just front end and depth problems.
Has there been any determination as to what is left over, or maybe left over in the 2022 budget for the unexpended fund balance?
Oh, from the unexpended fund balance?
No, that would go into the
No,
unexpended
not
fund.
yet.
Okay. What went from the 2021, what was unspent?
If you'll give me a moment.
Wasn't that when you wanted to go to DRA to overspend?
We haven't gone to DRA to overspend.
No, but there was a proposal at one point.
That was 3 years ago, yes.
Was it that long ago
Yes, it
already?
was,
Well,
yes.
That was a just in
That
case
time
though.
gone.
I think because we had some big repairs.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And we weren't sure that we were
Right,
prepared.
we
but-
didn't know if you were gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I thought it was sooner, more recent.
No, it
I thought we
wasn't.
had one about vehicle stuff specifically, that seemed more recent because we met over.
Okay.
Hard Street for that. So we've had engine 2
I want to say
service.
it's going to be more recent because it was COVID, we were wearing masks over there.
I think, yeah, so I thought.
So it wasn't 3 years
2020
ago, because that was in
Was it
pre-COVID.
2020?
I think it was 20 or 21.
I think we
Well,
were.
it's only 22 now, so.
Yeah.
Must have been 20 then, right?
Must have been 20, because we've had engine 2 in service for almost a year now.
Which seemed like forever.
Yeah.
But we're never going to get it.
The unassigned fund balance after the audit was
I'm sorry.
$626,107. The unassigned fund balance after the audit was $626,117. But the auditors took $201,502 of that and set it aside for the whole legal issue with the water district.
But that's the total of what's in there.
That Yes,
600.
at the end of the year, yeah, at the audit, the 21 was 626.
Right, but what portion of that came from 2021?
The increase was $201,502.
Okay.
Oops, wait a minute, that was wrong line. 241,774,
241,774.
right.
So that's how much was left over unspent from the 2021 budget. Correct?
I guess so, I don't know.
Well, if that's what they rolled over, it's
Ah.
because it doesn't go back into the general fund.
Okay, so that's,
No, 'cause
what they're
ambulance-
saying,
Ambulance charges
left
go
over.
there, then we have to move them in the,
Right.
put them into the fund.
they're saying, the under expenditures was $135,359. That's the number you're looking for.
259, so that's what was
135,359,
359,
Yes.
135, 35.
yes.
So that's how much was left over.
Due to different things happening, yes.
Okay. So how does everybody feel so far about this? It's what, 2.37% increase? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes.
And you're gonna have people this winter trying to decide between heating, fuel, and food.
And they're gonna be burning a lot of strange things. And
Forget about
and
electricity.
eating with a lot of strange things. And, can only imagine.
There's gonna be a lot of spam in the markets because it's so cheap. Um, Anybody?
I have a question. On car 3, and we had this, we went around about, oh no, we need, a tower and expedition so the stuff can fit. Did everything fit in the Durango?
No.
No. We have to get new stuff. Bummer.
But it was done within budget, right?
Excuse me?
It was done within budget.
Yes, it is within budget.
Yeah, with the not to exceed. Good.
Yes.
We don't have any expected, unexpected revenues, grants, federal government gonna give us.
So I did
They seem to
just,
be giving it to everybody else.
I did just receive a grant, a Homeland Security grant to improve our radio system. But that, the commissioners cut it out of the budget to get a grant for it, so I did.
Wait a minute, back up.
So, improve the radio system,
Yes.
then we,
We're adding an additional receiver on Pleasant Street and using a microwave link to bring it back to the repeater. It's a collaborative grant, so we're using Lakes Region's antenna system there. We're sending it by microwave and also adding additional police receivers. So this grant was for $50-something thousand, and it helps 3 agencies. That's how I wrote it. And it helps Lakes Region, TNFD, and Tilton PD. Adding receivers on the Franklin side to improve our portable radio reception over the west end of town. It also improves our portable radio reception on the west side of Northfield by a lot. And it takes, by microwave, brings to the repeaters at Shed Road, where it's voted and repeated, whichever signal they receive is better. That signal for Lakes Region the receiver there, is then by microwave from Shed Road to the PD, from the PD to fiber to Mount Belknap to where their voter is, and then controlled by things.
Steps.
Yeah, but it's really simple.
Oh.
That's what he's into. He's telling me he's like a little kid. He's still wasting, well, this does this and goes there. So, why are we helping
Those other people.
Lakes Region and Tilton PD?
Because-
Criteria?
Well, the grant criteria was that it had to be a multi jurisdictional grant. When I proposed this in last year's budget to the commissioners, it was just for TNFD. They said, well, if you can get a grant for it, we'll support it.
Is it restricted to Belknap County?
No, it was statewide. Statewide Homeland Security grant.
So could you have included other agencies?
Yes,
Did you approach Northfield?
I did.
Maybe not yet.
No.
I knew the answer.
I always approach.
Was it did you have to have matching funds for it?
No. Zero match,
100%, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And they said no?
Would it have benefited Northfield?
Hmm?
Would it have benefited Northfield?
I'm not sure. We have recently, when I say we, I'm not a cop. Northfield PD recently made some changes with
Belknap County.
Belknap County Sheriff for an antenna on the other side. And I guess it's working stellar. I mean, but I don't, one of the things that I'm always willing to spend money on is communication, because I've been in a system where I could see my lieutenant, couldn't talk to him, but I could see him. And I, running around portable, I mean, it was a long time ago, but that feeling of being in an emergency situation and you can't talk, it's just,
There are still areas, especially in Northfield, that the radio reception on portable radios is very poor. You get down to the end of Stevens,
Yep.
those areas, down by the Merrimack River.
and we replaced a bunch of portable radios for TV as well, so that made a huge difference.
If I can find the money, I can fix most of the problems.
Well, I'd like to see this budget dropped.
Okay.
You made me laugh. So, I would challenge,
So where do you do it though? I mean, our preliminary town budget is about the same, 2.3. What the hell, I mean,
I'm surprised it's not higher than it is. That's my feeling.
but I mean, I think the point you were trying to make is that we always have X amount left over,
always,
which you do, you always do.
I worked very hard to live within the budget.
And
It might not happen this year though, with all the legal fees and everything.
but the legal fees.
we should just
if you-
change the name
so
of that
then
line
that's
to
what
something
the
more
unreserved
fun.
fund balance is for.
But you can't take from the unreserved fund balance without permission from DRA.
That's right.
And
But
you
they
can't,
don't,
and you don't
they're
want,
not gonna say no.
well, you can't,
you just have to
you
go
can't
through-
ask them until the end of the year either.
That's right. You just go through the process. But that's why it's there. And,
The other problem is with attacking, when we have a building project that's ready to come online, we don't want to be taking money out of the unreserved fund balance because we need to keep a certain amount in there to comply with certain, what those stupid rules, accounting rules, I forget the name of them.
bond
Yes,
bank.
Steve.
The gas fee?
App,
You have to have enough money in there to look like You can cover just about anything that comes around. You can't look impoverished.
And I believe, it's 16.6% of your previous year's operating budget is what's supposed to be in your unreserved fund balance.
That's what's recommended.
That's what's recommended. And that's what the banks look at when they decide to give you a bond or a loan. Are you maintaining that amount? If you are, you're gonna get a better rate, interest rate. If you're not, you still get money, but it's gonna be at a higher rate and it's gonna cost more in the long term. Additionally, when you keep that money in your unreserved fund balance, we are earning interest on it. So it's good business practice to at least maintain that minimum amount that is recommended.
Are we at that? I have to, like, what is our, we're close. Or what percentage are we at to that goal?
So we're not really there yet.
You're not
we're
there.
not.
Because if we didn't have the water district arrears that we're gonna have to address at some point, whether it's at this district meeting or it's through a legal proceeding, or whether Northville pays it for us and then through a tax lien. I'm not joking.
Oh,
Oh, that's ridiculous. I'm not gonna do that.
We know, but we still have.
that's one of the
That
options.
would be like
That's- no,
Northfield
they-
paying
they-
Franklin's bill or Concord's bill. I don't think they can legally.
Well, they've started the proceedings
Oh.
of doing a tax lien on the Park Street property.
The water company?
Yes.
So,
So you've got.
we can't really attack that. We kind of need that for certain things that happen. If that goes away and we had the full 600,000 in there,
Then we're good.
then we'd be good, but we're not, because they're.
Well, you also have to remember your fund balance isn't a pile of cash sitting there.
No, it isn't.
It's your chairs and tables and desks, it's your equity, it's cash in. That's why I wanted to know specifically what was the amount of money left over from the 2021 fund budget.
Right, and then the auditors took and set that aside. They
Well,
restricted
the
it.
auditors can do whatever they
I know,
want.
but,
But,
they're making sure that we're covered for,
and knowing what the
Partially.
total is in there, so you ask, the question is, do you need any more? Probably not. That's a pretty good fund balance. But having 100,000 left over from a budget is not too horrible bad. But this year, I think we have to be as tight as we can possibly be. That's not bad. Your personnel administration has gone up almost 50,000.
Yeah.
Why?
What page do you want?
I'm just looking at page 2.
Oh, the overall.
that would be, the insurances went up?
No, that's
No.
part of it.
And of course, everything flows downhill.
What were you looking at? Were you looking at a percentage increase, or did you, for pay raises?
Oh,
Yes,
What percentage?
9.1.
9%
1
raises.
on the base salary. So that will bring it from $19 and change to a little more than, hold on.
I thought last year, money was raised and appropriated to bring the fire district employees up to a competitive rate with other districts and
It was.
departments.
It was.
1960 to 2138.
Well, I don't think anybody in the state's getting 9.1% raises. Unless you're self-employed and you're a doctor.
So it's 1960
We have municipal employees that get 8%.
to 2138.
Were you adjusting them because they were too low?
No, just after that. That's what I said.
So starting employee right now starts at $19.60 an hour. I propose that we move that up to $21.38 an hour.
But I thought we did all those adjustments last year.
Inflation was still at 9.1%. We're just trying to keep our employees at status quo. We're not asking for, this is a COLA. It's not we're not asking for a step raise or anything like that. It's just a COLA, cost of living increase. Adjustment, I guess is what you would say.
Even the state doesn't give a COLA.
Not like that.
So,
I think we got
I
a
get what
one
you're saying.
point something.
The point is
but
that
it,
the people that you're asking to pay this
that's right.
aren't getting a COLA. Is
That's
that what
what
you're?
I'm saying. How do you do that when the people that are paying the bill, they're not, for everyone to stay even, everybody's gotta do the same thing. Right, I mean, everybody has increased expense.
Everybody, including our employees.
Exactly, they're part of the everybody,
Yep.
but not everybody is being reimbursed, if you will, not brought up to that level. So not only do those people have their own shortfall or whatever it is, that's made worse when we as budgeters spend their money on our budget.
So there's a whole lot that goes into this, and it's not just the COLA. It's basically trying to maintain our employees' salaries in the middle of what everybody is around here, and it's, we're just trying to do around here, but technically, when we compete for employees, we're competing statewide. There is a statewide shortage for firefighters in this area. Fortunately, Tilton Northfield has a pay scale that is in the median area for this area, the Lakes region. We have a good culture within our fire department, and I think we have good leadership within our fire department. So we have people that, instead of leaving Tilton Northfield, people want to come to Tilton Northfield Fire. So that's a good thing. We're not, for example, other fire departments in the area that don't have a competitive salary. You could say Franklin, for example, have multiple vacancies at this point in time. In fact, I have 2 of their employees now. So we don't want to be in the position where we're losing our employees. We want to keep our employees. So this is an attempt to help us maintain that level of service that we're able to provide with the quality of people that we have. We don't want to lose the quality of the people that we have. We have excellent people.
But you're asking communities that are basically a high percentage of low income, and that's state statistics, not mine, to foot that bill.
I think the amount that we're asking at 2.37 or whatever it is increase is very reasonable for a cost of living overall budget, where the total cost of living in the whole area is going up quite substantially more than that. I think Social Security just approved an 8.7 COLA for people on Social Security.
They did, but the
Well-
average for federal employees, that's what I'm just looking up now, is 7.7. That's for federal employees.
So
The COLA
that's
increase.
nationwide.
Social
It's
Security has been paying
8.7.
poverty wages to the retirement people for decades.
And
Even if they do bring it up, it's still poverty level income. For people that rely on it solely, they're living at the poverty level. So that's probably not a good analogy to use here.
Well,
It's
it's
Social
an
Security.
It's an example.
And then they usually
of
take it
things.
away with their charge for Medicare,
Well, that's
so.
2138, is that for AEMTs or EMTs in general? So
AEMTs.
AEMTs, what would a medic be for starting?
All right.
And then the pay scale, because there's no per se step increase, right? It would be contingent on every year X amount of percentage for steps, right?
Right,
So they wouldn't know what they're gonna get when they start on year one, what they're gonna get in year two until we vote on it at the district.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
so medic starting is, that would be
10% more than
2351.
Okay. Is that the same when you make the jump for officer scale too? Do they get the 10%?
They do, yes.
Something.
Ish?
Yes. A captain, if the base rate is 2707, at the AEMT, and if they have a medic, they're 2977.
If you compare those rates to other fire departments in our area, you'll find that we're pretty much kind of right in the middle of that. We're not high, we're not low.
But those other areas might have residents that can afford that.
I'm saying.
The medium income of those communities is probably higher than Tilton, Northfield, and Samerton.
I think the median income of Tilton is somewhat lower than Northfield, which is lower than Sanderson. But we're not part of Sanderson. That you're talking the school district if you look at Sanderson.
Well,
Where does-
Franklin.
I am, I just came from school district meeting Monday night, and I
So,
haven't flushed that out yet.
When you do wage study, do you, in the communities you compare it to, do you look at the median income in those communities and compare it to ours?
no, I don't. Because I'm not competing against the median income of those communities. I'm competing against the salaries and benefits of those communities.
Yeah, but those salaries and benefits come from the median income of our,
It comes from the residents, and the median income reflects the middle income of the range. It's not, they don't use the average income, they use the middle. The median means middle.
right,
So you could have, statistically, you could be weighted way more on one end than the other, but the median, the middle, I don't like the median really. I'd rather use the mean rather than the median, but they don't give the mean out, they give the median. So it's not really an accurate account of what you have, because
So how do
if you had two people, one person earning 0 and one person earning 100, you'd have a median and mean of 50. If you have 3 people at 100 and 1 people at 0, you still have a median of 50, because you get the high and the low, it's the median of 50, but your average is going to be 87 or something like that, 75 or whatever.
so how do we gauge a community's ability to pay?
If you had a mean average, that would be a better indicator of their ability to afford. You'd have to ask the Bureau of
Somebody,
Census Bureau, because they're the ones that determine how, what they're gonna measure. I can't go out and measure everybody's
no,
median.
and that's not where I'm,
Lakes Region Planning probably has those figures though.
so is it known that mean is typically X more or less than median?
Well, if you take a statistics course, you learn the differences between the
Yeah.
two. But I don't know if the general public knows the difference, unless you've taken statistics.
I know our welfare budget goes up every year.
Yeah,
I don't know I have no idea how you determine what your welfare budget is and
Well,
how
the
it's-
number of
how
people
it's
that are
handed
on
out.
it, but
Our population is also going up. Just the town of Tilton's population has gone up, as well as the town of Northfield has gone up as well. I mean, both towns together now are approaching 9,500, 10,000 people.
And our welfare budget's almost nothing compared to Sanborn and Northfield.
no, we're lucky we have the welfare director, we do.
Mhm.
Oops.
What is, I think, because I think ours is the lowest around.
Our, the
40,
number of
45.
people she serves compared to the amount of money she gives out
I think we're under
is an indication of how lucky we are to have her.
that. A hot dog.
If you compare those to other communities, they're paying out 3 times
I
as
like
much
hot
money
dogs.
because she doesn't just say yes, you have to qualify. But does anybody have any more budget questions? I don't think we have to beat this up too much tonight, but I would challenge everybody here to see if we can reduce this budget.
When will the commissioners be done? Do we have a
Yes,
They're
good
meeting,
On the
Let's-
20
I see
they're
some of the
meet-
big
they're meeting on the
ones.
26th.
and then again on the 7th, and then November 15th.
So
Those
it
are the 3 that they've got
should
out
be
there.
totally done by then.
Yes, they should be.
Yeah, there's still a couple big ones that you gotta pay.
They haven't touched
Well, we
yet.
had, the insurance rates weren't in or any of that kind of stuff, so.
Our, was it workers' comp, property liability, and,
They went up.
but one went up significantly, one went down significantly, so we ended up about $900 to the good
Wow, you lucked out.
on the
Our
town side.
insurance rates went up to 11.7, our health insurance rates went up 11.7%.
And then our property and liability went up. Let's see, that's in here.
Who are you using?
Property and liability is through Primex. And that was 9.7% increase.
Yeah, we have Primex, so.
Yeah, they're pretty much the only game out there.
I was gonna say that.
They are.
Yeah.
So both that and our workers' comp went up.
Well, it's too bad they're not all bookkeepers.
Yeah, so, like if you're a firefighter, the workers' comp rate is very high. The police officer is very high. A roofer, very high.
Higher,
Sorry,
Yeah.
maybe.
it is.
Because they use a ladder.
I know a guy that just got slammed.
The majority of our concrete workers were floor finishers,
Yeah,
not foundation guys.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good play on words.
Yeah, you gotta play the game.
So our next meeting
Yes.
is
I've got
not
the
gonna
calendar.
be, yeah, it's not gonna be till, unless we meet on Fridays, it's gonna be end of November. Because
Uh-huh.
Thanksgiving's in there.
Right.
That's a
So the
Thursday.
first available,
I'd meet Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, but
This-
probably everybody
no,
else
I'm
wouldn't like
cooking,
to.
thank you. The 16th of November is the week before Thanksgiving. And then the week after Thanksgiving is the 30th.
What's everybody's pleasure? When did you say the commissioners were?
They should have it finished by the 15th. They're meeting the 26th of this month, and then they're meeting November 7th and 15th to work on the budget.
I was looking at them 1 month and I said, I'm not coming in on a Saturday or a Sunday.
No,
Do you want to meet on the 16th?
Might as well.
Jump on it.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
What?
Fine with me.
okay, so the 16th.
That's a Wednesday, right?
It is a
That's
Wednesday, 5:30.
5:30.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
And the meeting adjourned at
I got it right.
6:36.
Here for 12 and now.
according to my phone.
Yeah.